Right, hello everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you might be across the world. A nice bit of beautiful piano music to lure us into a bear market. As if we've, been in this glorious bull run for the last few months that everyone seems to think we have been in, but yeah. The 1 second chart for your pleasure and amusement. It's been quite delightful today. Shall we make the charts go keek boom? Yeah, I'm not sure you'll like which way that they might go kick boom, but we'll see. I mean, I think this is going to be one of the weirdest streams I've probably ever done because we're at a strange point. I'm going to leave the piano music in the background and hope that takes some of the edge off, to be honest. But yeah, how is everyone? Ultra bullish? Ultra bearish? Somewhere in between? What's the vibe in the chat? Ultra bearish. Ultra poor. That's a fucking great response. There is no hope. There's always hope while hope remains. Bullish on life. Oh, that's cute. This week the stocks decides our fates. In between, yeah. It's a bit of a mix then. Although I think bullish on tea. I mean, I've got a tea right here, and if you hear me slurping, again, it's not me slurping dips, it's me slurping tea. But traditionally British, right? Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, if I zoom out a bit, start with BTC. I'll just start with some of my thoughts on it, I guess. I mean, you can draw this however you want, right? We've just been ranging for a while. We had a little deviation up here. Now, if we were in an ultra bull market and we really were at the start of a new trend, my personal view was that we should have held above. We should have, or pretty much everyone's view on bloody Twitter, was that was going to be, a fresh move up. Wonderful, nice and easy, clean. Obviously, hasn't worked out like that. So we're back in this, 3 month or so range. Let's go from there, shall we? Yeah, 111 days. What does that mean for me personally? It just means that I'm not trading BTC. I mean, I'm not that interested. I did this the other day. I posted it on Twitter, and to be honest, that's my that's my view. It's just boredom. It's infinite chop. People are going to lose a lot of money, I think, and people are probably not sizing down appropriately enough, at least for me and my system and the way that I do things, which I'll come on to in a little bit. It's just, I don't think we're at the stage where all of crypto Twitter's fighting yet. I don't think we're, pure Goblin Town just yet. We are seeing some polarization of views, quite how people are so bipolar on their viewpoints. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of obviously macro context, which is bearish. Had a lot of good debate this morning with a couple of people around whether actually that is a catalyst for crypto being bullish, i.e., people want to move their assets into a more risk-on but potentially deflationary asset like Bitcoin. My personal view is that when people risk off, they're not going to risk on to Bitcoin, but we'll see. Why is Charlie always talking about size? I don't know. I'll have to do some ink blot drawings or something and get some professional opinions on that. But yeah, I mean, for me, we're just in this no real clear direction zone. Most people would call it a range. Most people would just say, this isn't necessarily the part where you risk on super hard. And all I've been doing at the moment is picking a couple of altcoins to trade to the long side for the most part, and just riding them, and that's it. And I think most of you, if you followed me for any period of time, will be familiar with kind of how I do that, which is spaghetti. I literally just look at what are the in-play coins and really then just look to trade those. I've been pretty focused on Ape, Lux and Luna the past few days, and that's it. That's literally it. I woke up this morning, I saw a nice sell-off, I longed Ape, I made some money, and that's it. Nothing more complicated than that. I mean, going through some of the charts then, most of them do look like hot garbage right now, but equally, a lot of alts are sat on daily or 4-hour support. So yeah, if we start with BTC, we're just sat in this little range. I'm not interested in trading it personally. Break above, interested. Break below, interested. That's it. Right? I'm not a BTC trader anymore. I'm a bit of a fraud to the name, to be honest. The name BTC Charlie. Logically, for me, I think we do come down here. You know, we failed to deviate above this range. Momentum to the downside. Chop. Failure to hold 50 RSI. No real strength. Roller coaster, maybe. Something like that. But yeah, like I say, I'm not trading BTC specifically. I just use it. Hopefully we can see our alts recover. And I think this is kind of the thing for me, is that on days like this, when you've got an awful lot, a sea of red on alts, which is partially obviously driven by the fact that alts are just high beta BTC, but this is quite a sell-off compared to other sell-offs, and you can see that from spaghetti. And for me, when we start really risk-offing on alts, the way that I play it, which is trying to get a few longs on a couple of specific in-play alts, becomes a bit more risky, so size down. But yeah, it's starting to become a market where my strategy is going to become less and less effective. So how that filters into your alts, which I don't know if you're swing trading them, I don't know if you're spot holding bags. I mean, I've got several spot bags which are not looking too pretty. But equally, I was happy to accept the risk on every single one of them. Just accumulating bags. Yeah, and I mean, that's it, right? So a lot of people are kind of like, I don't know, sand's quite a good one, isn't it? When you look at something like sand and you say, okay, well, oh my god, it's a super bear market for sand. And you go, well, kind of is it? Like, if there's anywhere to buy, it's probably here. You've got quite a decent invalidation. It's a pretty thick level because I've drawn it very thick, obviously, it helps. The thicker you draw the line, you know, the less chance price has of breaking through it. Someone once told me. So, you know, it's a strange one. Are people bearish at support, or is this the buying opportunity of a lifetime? You know, generational wealth incoming. Noted thicker lines. And like, my honest opinion is, I don't know. I think we're just in for chop. And this is kind of why my approach has been focus on a couple of coins, right? Pick them, understand the narrative, understand the hype behind them, like Ape, which, you know, I still think the actual coin itself is a piece of shit, but the actual market is disproving me every single day. And if I just punt to the long side on occasion, then I can earn my shekels that way. I don't have to hold anything for weeks, months. If I don't want to, I can take small calculated risks on single coins. And yeah, like, I'm not looking to get any particular spot alt bags at the moment, because yeah, generally the market is slowly slowly contracting, isn't it? I suppose is the way I'd put it. And it goes back to that meme roller coaster thing of, you know, all the bounces sort of gradually getting smaller and smaller, and maybe that's the one that kind of bucks the trend a little bit. But that's certainly how it's felt. missed the start of the stream and Posh, I'm not going to make it. Ah, you're going to make it. It's fine. Get you on one of these streams one day, mate. So yeah, I mean, a lot of alts are kind of doing something like this, apart from the in-play ones, which is why I keep gravitating towards them. I keep having what I call a cheap hooker strategy, which is in, out, get your job done, but be fully protected, know the risks, and don't tell the wife, right? It's really that simple. Like, I don't want huge macro exposure at this point to the upside, and I don't want huge macro exposure to the downside either. But what I do want, to be honest with you guys, is I do want some exposure if we end up going up here, and I do want some exposure if we end up going down there. So I'm always positioning myself such that I say, well, okay, if we end up doing something retarded like Chimpsu says, and we go, right, we're going to God candle up here, we get a 10k candle, God knows what creates it, what catalyst there is, if anything, America adopts Bitcoin, I don't know, who knows what it could be, but to me, a lot of the narratives have kind of run out. Like, I look back at 2018, 2019, and I think, what were the things that were going to propel crypto forward? You had all these dreams of like Visa, MasterCard, or whoever adopting and PayPal using it as payments, yada yada yada. A lot of these things have happened, right? They're kind of all there. Like, I don't know what the big, huge push is for Bitcoin to 5x from here, other than just it gradually increasing. I don't know. I don't know what would cause a 10k candle at this point, I guess is what I'm getting at. But, other people seem quite convinced that that's going to happen. Or they're farming good Twitter engagement, which is fair play. And no discredit to these guys, right? Chimpsu, as an example, is a very, very competent trader. But yeah, I just don't see how we're going to get a 10k candle out of nowhere. But I kind of need to position myself on the basis that my theory is we're going to chop for a little bit longer. Macro is going to decide, basically, what we do, so traditional. And I have a small bias to the downside, but positioning to that downside is quite difficult, particularly with alts, because, one green day and you're wiped out of your position. So what kind of options have I got down here? Well, options, for a start. That's a good way to get some exposure to the downside. Sitting in cash for, a vast part of my portfolio in this section, and just playing it in and out, as I've sort of talked about earlier. And then to the upside again, it's probably options, it's probably some low caps, and it's probably some NFTs that actually you start thinking about, well, if I am wrong, and we're not just going to chop and then bleed out to Goblin Town, I do want some exposure in this end. And for me, putting a couple of $1,000s in a low cap, and actually the market comes back and we go up, you've got a huge chance of that turning into a reasonable amount of money, as opposed to, I don't know, buying like a few $1,000s worth of Bitcoin. Like, it's just not gonna touch the sides, is it? So that's kind of how I try to think about my whole portfolio allocation. I want something in here, if we end up going there. I want something, well, I'm mostly cash at this point. So I do have some spot bags, I do have some investments, I do have some NFTs. I've got a lot of NFTs, to be honest, but whether they're liquid or not is probably up for debate. And then this side is where I really have to do a bit of work, to be honest. I need to think about how I'm going to position for potential downside, because I'm not particularly exposed. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm literally just in and out of positions on the daily, which has pretty much been Ape. Ape's been the one, Ape and Lux have been the two that have been saving my portfolio, to be honest, or saving my trading balance. I think you've probably all seen the Ape chart, the wonders that it is, plastered across Twitter, because it's one of the only coins to talk about, really. It's not much else is going up. I've just got to say that the piano is an absolute vibe. I am loving it. Whether this is starting to look a bit exhausted now, momentum slowly dying off. I mean, these aren't great divs, right? Just to be very, very clear, like, I prefer to see divs that are like, well, that. You know, clean. This kind of reset isn't a great div. But yeah, I guess it did kind of play out down there. Whether this is gearing up for another leg up, or whether this is actually a distribution top, don't know. But to be honest with you, my trades have been down on the one minute chart. They have been very quick ins and outs. My trade this morning, I literally woke up to this sell-off. I longed down here and I closed up here somewhere. That was it. Job done. Actually, no, I closed up here. There we go. But yeah, that's it. Obviously, I missed out on a fair amount, but yeah, in and out on the long side. Stay protected, stay in cash. That's been my motto. And one thing that I was literally in voice chat a few minutes ago, and I saw was this, and this is why I love spaghetti. You can see there, Doge just start making its move, and this is why I've pretty much always got this chart up every minute of the day if I'm sat at the PC. It doesn't matter if I'm gaming or whatever, and you can see these runs, right? You can see them starting to happen. If you've got your tweet deck and you've got specific news entities that you follow, then you can start, you know, piecing the puzzle together as to what's going on, because Doge is typically either an Elon tweet or a Twitter move. I think that correlation is quite prominent, and whether you fade Elon tweets these days or whether you join in on the pumps, you know, that's entirely up to you. It depends how fast you are, etc. But yeah, maybe Doge is the pump that reignites the market. And this is one of the reasons that I love spaghetti for low time frame intraday trades, because it just paints a picture clear as mud. You know, or clear as day rather. It's beautiful, and it will show you when the strength of things like Ape, you know, filter on some pivots on BTC, see what's got the strength, see where it's going. You know, this would suggest to me that there's only room for one meme coin in town. Doge going up, Ape going down, backtest, see what the correlation is between the two, and just start using that to potentially informing your take profits, your risk, I guess, on an intraday basis, and whether Ape is coming out of that in play box. I don't think it is personally, but you know, I probably wouldn't be looking to enter a fresh position right now. Where will I buy spot? Spot BTC? Let's have a look. It's a good question. I think I'll give you the best answer. The bottom. The bottom. Yeah, I think I'll buy spot at the bottom. So I always like buying strength, and by that I mean that what I wouldn't do is go, okay, well, we've reached this arbitrary level that I've okay, by now, is that, okay, we've reached this arbitrary level that I've drawn on my chart, let's buy some. So no, that's completely not for me. What I will do though is I would say something like, okay, well, if I take this chart, if we can push above and hold above 44k, I would rather buy spot there, because we've had, let me just delete this rubbish. So push above, hold there, bang. I would rather buy into that strength, right? Because what I don't want to be trying to do is just catch a knife all the way down. That's not my trading style at all. I prefer buying strength, and strength is either a high or low in terms of market structure. It's relative strength, so it's spaghetti. So you can see that every other coin is moving like X, like this, or down, and your coin is either going like that, or it's actually doing this, and BTC is doing that. So you're holding that relative strength to everything else. Now, a good example of this, I suppose it's not that recently, but it was Near. I still remember this trade. I was watching Near basically do this, while basically everything else in the market did that. And it was so strange on low time frame. Like, it was a fairly significant move on BTC. I think it was about 8 weeks ago, maybe. It was a fairly significant move on BTC. And it was the easiest long ever. Literally, you just long it, and then as soon as Bitcoin went like that, NEAR just went boom, 20%. That was it. And it was just such an easy trade. It was bizarre. It was just free money being given to you. And this is what I mean by like spaghetti, and how you can use it to help your decision making. And it's just that, well, there's still a bid on there, or at least it's, the selling is being absorbed. So, but the entire market is shitting itself. So, what are you going to do? But anyway, the question was, where would I buy spot? And the answer really is, I'd quite happily buy some spot up here. If we did something like this, and then we reclaimed, well, that's a pretty shit level, but yeah, you get my point. I'd buy that, potentially. And it would depend on other factors at the time, and sort of how that sell-off happens. Oh, wonderful. People messaging me on Steam. Rude. But yeah, I want to see strength. I want to see a change in market structure. I want to see something, right? I don't just buy at arbitrary levels. And that's just me. That's just my system, my way of looking at things. I know on occasion I'll do it, but typically it will be with smaller positions. I will still not forget whoever asked me to look at Rune back here, down here, and I said, look, like, there's a really good RR for this because you've got very, very clean invalidation basically under here. Do what you want. I didn't buy any. It was probably the best performer. It was certainly the best performer for the first few weeks of that altcoin run up we had in February to April. But when we were down here, so for me, I'll kind of show you some of my thinking, I guess. So for me, if we were down here on the 24th of February and you were looking at spaghetti on that sell-off on the 24th of February, Rune was one of the worst to recover. So it was just probably, that's a bad example. It's actually doing alright right now. But yeah, it was kind of down here, and it wasn't doing much. It wasn't particularly interesting compared to other altcoins, so I kind of ruled it off despite the setup looking good, and so on and so forth. Bro, cut it short, entry, stop loss, take profit. Okay, right boys, this is it. This is the trade that's going to make your entire life, your financial freedom. What are we going to do? Should I flip a coin, long or short? Let's go short, shall we? So because we've got such a tight stop, it means we can go massive with the position size. Should we go 24k? Something like that? Yeah. Yeah, 87. I don't like the risk reward ratio, so what we'll do is we need to make that at least 100, I guess, don't we? Yeah, there we go. Actually, let's just go all the way down here, shall we? Yeah. Something like that? Nah, like genuinely speaking, like it's not a terrible idea to short something like what have we got? Something like that. I could if I want to justify a short here. Probably not to the extreme of that. To what I just showed you. It was 103R, I think, though, and just say like invalidation below there. But to be honest with you, like, don't diddle in the middle is a saying that SZ told me, and it stuck with me. And so I'm just going to stick with what I know, which is, unfortunately for me, taking the long side of altcoins, and using relative strength and basically some divs to assess whether I want to be in them or not. There was an okay one earlier on looks on the old 10 minute down here, which was a little div across here, but it's not clean. I didn't take it. I was looking at it going, "Ugh, that's a bit gross." But as you can see, it's one of my in-play alts. You probably recognise these. They're the ones that are pretty much plastered over Twitter. They're the ones that on Spaghetti, every time Bitcoin drops, they have an extreme move to either side. So again, cheap hooker strategy, fully protected, in out quickly, manage your sizing, blah blah blah. To be honest, TradFi looks so bad, but Bitcoin bounce, nice. So if we get relief on TradFi, I think Bitcoin rips towards resistance. Yeah, quite possibly. And if this is where how I play it works really nicely, because if Bitcoin does that, alt USD pairs are going to absolutely bang. Hey, Seabrew. Crypto Chimpanzee. Hey man, how's it going? Is that Crypto Chimp? You've missed the 110 trade, but that's alright. I'm sure we'll find another one in the next 5 minutes. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of it for me. This is all I'm doing at the moment. It's just rotating. Goblin of the North. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does feel like that, doesn't it? But I was reading something the other day that was. It kind of put things in perspective from a goblin town, all the bears, rah rah rah. And the short version of it was that you're trying to time what will probably be the greatest recession in history, and you're kind of saying that that's now, right? And that the whole monetary policy is all fucked. And I'm just going to disclaimer all of this with, I am not an expert in this field by any fucking means, and I am just judging things by what I've read on Twitter, by some of the YouTube videos I've been watching and all that kind of stuff. But, absolute amateur hour at global macroeconomics at best. That you're trying to time the death of the greatest Ponzi, ever, right? Which is the market. And, I think a lot of people are probably going to get more fucked trying to do that than they will do by simply taking much shorter time frame trades. Don't touch Atom. Yeah. More things to worry about if it collapses? Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that I find really strange, that people almost want this system to fail. It's like, fuck me, how many people's brothers, sisters, mums, dads are all part of this system? We're all in crypto, some to different extents than others. Some people have full-time jobs, some people have part-time jobs, some people have no jobs, some people are full-time traders, yada yada yada. Some people can take advantage of this market, right? But not everyone can, and we're almost like, oh yeah, I'm betting the fact that your pension is going to be worth 50% less in 2 years' time than it is now. It's fucking sad, man. It's really sad. I think of my, grandparents and stuff like that, and it's just strange. It's just strange. The real ramifications of all of this stuff going tits up are, Anyway, that's not really what I'm here to stream about, but there we go. Yeah, you've noticed my don't touch Atom. I don't know if any of you find this, but I find that Atom trades like a fucking hot piece of garbage, right? My win-loss rate on trading Atom is fucking terrible. Dot's the same. Yeah, and note the word feel. So I feel like whenever I've added it to relative strength and I've started looking at it and I've observed its behaviour, it just moves very differently every time. Whereas something like Ape for the last few days, basically every time Bitcoin is dumped, Ape's recovered quite hard, right? It's got a bid, it's there, it is still correlated, it is highly correlated in fact to BTC, but you can play the bounces. Atom will bounce hard one day, or one dump on a 5-minute chart, let's say, and then the next time it does nothing, and it just keeps ebbing and flowing between doing something and doing nothing, and there's no real, that I can discern anyway, pattern. Ape and KNC paying the bills? Yeah. And that's it. Like for me, like Atom has just been one of those spot bags that I bought, I held, I got some airdrops, which didn't cover my spot bag, and yeah, that's it. And everyone tells me, like whenever I post something about airdrops, they're like, oh yeah, claim your Atom airdrops. Like, yes, those those pieces of shit, sadly, aren't worth as much as the drawdown. But hey, maybe if I draw some lines on a chart. And again, it's another great example, right? It's, would you call that like a macro support? I mean, it's a bit sketch, kind of clinging on a little bit. But a lot of alts look like this, right? I've no doubt that Atom will just do whatever the fuck it wants. So it's kind of, I don't like TAing it at the best of times. But yeah, I mean, I just think that, yeah, Atom's a piece of shit. Sorry. Good tech, but the coin itself is cursed. Or maybe it's just cursed for me. Been watching your Jim streams for a while. Found them really useful. Oh, cheers, mate. What makes an RSI divergence clean? So, again, there's not really a great one on Atom. Let's see if we can find a nice clean one. I mean, I'll just draw one. I'll just draw a clean divergence. So for me, it's, you've got that higher high in price, right? And there's not much in terms of drawdown there, okay? And vice versa, on RSI, you've got it A, it's in the extreme. So it's up here, above 70, and you've got a higher low. Again, that's not particularly great, so I'll just redraw that for you. Like that, right? And again, that isn't drawn out, isn't drawn down too far, because if it looks something like this, I see a lot of people that go like that. Actually, let's do a really fucking extreme example, and we'll go like this, and we'll go, okay, well that's a div. And you go, well, is it, with price doing something like that? And you go, well, that angle isn't very extreme. That angle is, that there is quite a cool off, right? That's quite a reset in terms of momentum. Now it's not going to look like that. I'll see if I can find one actually. But chances are, if you've got a very, very strong move up and a very clean divergence down there, that is much, much better than something like, so these indicators give this indicator, which is the KZX RSI div. You could just go on to TradingView and find it on here. That is a good example where that's kind of, for me, that's played out already. I wouldn't take that as a div, right? Because it's come back down, it's almost at that 50 level, it's basically played out here. I want to see very strong uptrend and weakening momentum, and I want them to be diverging quite strongly. Does that make sense? I don't feel like I've explained that hugely well. But also you have to take into account that the default setting for RSI is typically 14, so 14 candles of whatever chart you're looking at. And when you get divs, when you get people doing divs across, like that, and they say, oh, look at this, it's like, well, is that a div? I mean, it clearly isn't with this chart, but you get the point of people are doing it across, I don't know, hundreds of bars. It can make sense to say that momentum is shifting, potentially, but down here, you'd look at it and you'd go, okay, well, it's clearly played out already, any kind of change in momentum. So yeah, for it to be actionable, it needs to be pretty clean. Oh yeah, I'll save the I'll save the vid. To be honest, last time I forgot to. Twitch deleted it. I didn't realise it did that. Fucking boomer things, right? But yeah, that for me is basically RSI divs. Needs to be at the extreme, needs to be clean. You have to be conscious that you're basically fading a trend and you're trying to catch mean reversion, so you need to understand like what market you're operating in. So if you were trying to fucking do RSI divs all the way up here, you're probably going to get blown out most of the time. You know, if you're waking up and most alts are up 20% and you're trying to fade using RSI divs to the short side, like, you're going to get your ass handed to you, right? If you're in an environment like at the moment where Bitcoin is in a range, and you wake up most days and alts are, you know, up 5%, down 5%, the mix is pretty sort of sporadic. Some days you wake up and there's 50% of them are up, 50% are down, so on and so forth. Like, the context in which you're operating in means that you can probably fade things now. Today's a bad day, obviously, to try and fade anything. You'd be wanting to probably take the long side for a little relief bounce. But hopefully you get my point of fading huge, strong uptrends, which we are not in at the moment, will get you fucked quite quickly. But yeah, I think it does. So there's been a significant reset in the RSI has played out and that's likely to be tradable. Yeah, that's right. You literally want it to be sort of or I prefer it to be still up here, above that 70, or below that 30. Now, exceptions can be made around either in-play coins, because you don't necessarily get below the 30, let's say, or if you're at a key support resistance level, you know, that everyone is probably whacking on their charts, and you can develop some other confluence to support your decision making. But yeah, I prefer RSI extremes. Where can I get some financial advice for waves, mate? Yeah, sure. Sell it. Done. Not financial advice. Oh. What? Alright, there's 50 clout points available for the best name in chat for this pattern. Let's go. Yeah, it'll be rewatchable, mate. I'll save it down and I'll try and figure out how to get it posted on YouTube as well. Because I am a boomer. So you might have to bear with me. Burj Khalifa, the needle dick. Yeah, the disappointment. Expensive hooker. Yeah, fucking hell. I mean, God, the wave. Oh, that's Alpinist. I mean, needle dick, yeah. I just... Even if you use protection, she gets pregnant. Yeah, I mean, this is why Twitter CEOs should fucking stay off Twitter, right? And certainly shouldn't start beef with Alameda. Like, holy shit. Yeah. And this is what I mean, like, context matters. So, arbitrary level, come back, retest, you know. If I was buying here, I know this is hindsight LARP analysis, right? So don't fucking at me. But you've got a tiny bit of consolidation there, like, great. Like, I want to see move away and get in there. Like, that's why I buy strength. I want to see a higher low on something like a 4-hour or a daily. Right? I wouldn't just buy at arbitrary levels. This is a really good example of why I don't do that, right? And if you had logged into Twitter for more than 4 seconds, you'd probably be aware of all the wave saga anyway, so you probably wouldn't do that. But yeah, this chart is fucking horrendous, isn't it? Which, unironically, if people want to buy the fear, you know. That's Tioshakar. How do you exit RSI div plays? Wait till 70. Oh, that sounds like sauce, that does, mate. That sounds like a lot of sauce. It's honestly dependent on the situation. So it depends what you're doing, what the context is, how you're building that position. So I've seen more triple divs than I've seen in a while lately on lower time frames, which if you change your position sizing based on context, then you might enter with say 50% on the first div, say 50% for a third, and then your invalidation is either up here, or you might have a higher time frame level. And then in terms of taking profit on it, I don't use RSI as a take profit. I don't have anything that's arbitrary in terms of, okay, it's got to 70 or it's got to 50, and that's where I take profit. I will usually base my TPs either on the price action that's developing in front of me, or at levels that I've specified at the point of entering my trade. But if you see something like you get the sell-off that you expected, you then start seeing RSI chop around the 50, you can and then it starts moving up because you've essentially had the sell-off, strength's coming back. You can cut the trade there if you want to, if that's your system, if that's what you've backtested and you've found is quite an effective method, then something like that is more effective, in my opinion, than just saying, okay, we've lost the 70, because to be honest, you probably won't get many setups where you're getting the div there and it's not going to take you very long to get there, if that makes sense. MACD settings, it's just the default, mate. Absolute default. That's AO as well, not MACD. Yeah. So can you tell I was in CBS's group for a while? Yeah, literally default. Literally default. Yeah, so I use AO quite a lot. It's very helpful for objectively saying like what's going on. You get some quite clean divs on occasion. It's not clean, is it? Trying to think where there was a good one on Luna. Yeah, down here. You get it's not the cleanest. You can see my mean parabolic curve. Yeah, look, there you go. That's one that we talked about before. The lower highs and momentum. Oh, where's my piano gone? There we go. Sorry, we continue the vibe. What time frame do you usually find the best divs? Oh, again, that's sauce. That's real sauce. It depends on the market conditions, is the honest answer. Because if you're, how do I put this? If you're doing what I do at the moment, which is I'm on low time frame, I'm on between 1 and 15 minute charts typically, right? So, are they more or less effective on them than a 4 hour or daily chart? I mean, for me and what I'm doing, yes, they are. Does that mean that 4 hour divs and daily divs don't play out, or they don't play out to, a large extent? No, it doesn't. I think in the current environment for me, lower time frame divs work pretty well. And that goes back to the whole, this isn't a hugely this isn't a hugely trending environment, right? Although you would say that we have been trending down for the last, best part of a month, I guess, on BTC. You can play the reversion, I guess, is my point. Yeah, in these conditions you can't really hold, so it's only a short-term trade. I mean, you certainly can, if you want to. It's just not how I'm playing it at the moment. after entering on a div setup, where do you TP? Stop loss, target, all that kind of stuff. Like I said earlier, mate, it'll just depend on the specific setup that I'm looking at. And usually, like with Ape earlier, I was in and out within like 30 minutes. It was literally, literally in and out. Like, another sip of tea, lovely. Like, you mark out some levels, you see what happens, you see what's happening after you've entered your position. One of the biggest mistakes that I think people make trading altcoins is they will set a stop loss, or they'll set a target and they'll say, okay, right, well, I'm wrong under here, right? And if you start building a position here, you go, right, I bought some in, bought some, okay, right. And let's say, for argument's sake, the price starts doing this, right? Most people will go, okay, well, I'm not wrong until we're down here. And then we go, oh yeah, I'm right again. Oh no, uh-oh. Oh, I'm right again, it's fine. Oh no. Oh, I'm right again, it's fine. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, I've stopped. Whereas, like, one thing that I always preach, particularly on alts, is you can size off, right? You can start sizing down. And the idea for me is I do not want to get stopped out of a full size position. I just don't. I know where I'm wrong. I can say, okay, well, that was a nice little liquidity cascade on Bitcoin. This is probably a bottom. If it isn't, I'm wrong under here. I'll start building a position. Okay, well, if it comes back down to here, then I'm going to size off. I'm going to take a little L on effectively these two, which, if it stays there, then I'll be balanced out to a break-even position. But I don't want to ride a whole position down to there. Right, I just don't want to. I want to size off as the position starts going against me. So the same works on a take profit, right? So if my target is, let's say it's up here, right? I don't just want to go, okay, well, I'll wait for it to hit this arbitrary level and I'll take that, right? I'll be taking some off, up here, etc. I'll just be like, okay, well, that looks like a decent place for it to stop. I'll probably take some off down there, yada yada yada. Again, I'm just LARPing about this, but I'm talking about trade execution and how I do it, because you don't want a full size position just to go like that against you, and it does happen, right? Some of these markets are fucking illiquid as shit, and occasionally you will get cucked trading altcoins, and that's just the risk that you kind of take on when you trade them. It's as simple as that, sadly. But yeah, from a positioning and take profit perspective, rarely for me is it, okay, I've entered here, stop there, full take profit there, and then I just walk away from the PC. Rarely at the moment. So any questions about that? Because that's kind of a different one. I guess I get asked that quite a lot by people who are like, how do you trade alts, and how do you trade alts with size? Like, I obviously trade with $100, so it doesn't really affect me. But do you have a hard stop further down? That is a very good question, and I do usually have a what if FTX logs me out again, like an absolute cunt stop market order down here. So yeah, I still remember the day where I yeeted long something, relatively large size, and before I could do that, it logged me out of my FTX account, and my phone with my 2FA on it was out in my car, so I had to run out the house because I could see on TradingView that it was going against me to try and get my credentials to log in for. And by the time I came back and sorted it all out, it was fucking it was pretty bad. So yeah, there's always a systematic risk in crypto, whether that is Bitcoin like literally going to zero because a quantum computer's just destroyed it. Whether it's FTX going into liquidation, whether it's FTX logging you out of your account, as happened to me, these things happen, right? Or your internet going down. It happened to someone the other day, right? Their internet went down, they're in a position, didn't have a hard stop, come back, you're down X amount. Like, fuck, can't help it. But these things do happen. So yes, I always try to have a hard stop in place. Do we give into the Doge narrative? Yeah, I mean, I was talking earlier about what's the next thing that can ignite a bull run, and maybe it is Doge. Maybe it is Doge going crazy. Weren't we going to have Doge Day on the 20th of April? It's a bit fucking disappointing, really. Let's have a look. Let's have a peep, shall we? Maybe not on the 1 minute chart, but 20th of April, wasn't it? I mean, it's not great, is it? Like, wow. It was long for 420. Got stopped. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those classic. I mean, that's a literal Bart, isn't it? It's great. Just that, like. Yeah, it's very strange. Very strange. I mean, personally, I think it's probably just. I don't think this is the ignition of the next bull run. But like I was kind of saying earlier, that like I want to have some exposure if it is, right? And I want to be able to sorry, I'm just deleting things because it does my OCD in when I see crap like this. But I kind of want this. I want this chart because it was a pain in the ass to make. But I do want some exposure, even if it's small, even if it's, if it's X amount of my portfolio that I've invested, and you know what, that goes like this, or it just goes straight to Goblin Town. It's an amount that I'm comfortable losing, right? And that's the thing that I think people don't talk about very much. They often say, well, how much can I make? And it's kind of not about that sometimes. It's about how much am I willing to bet? How much am I willing to lose? And I'm willing to lose X amount on the basis that if we wake up one day and we've gone up here and I'm not exposed to it from a trading perspective, my spot bags are kind of light, shall we say, yeah, I can then sleep at night and say, if that happens, yeah, I've made something out of it. Although if we do go up there and we do start, trending up, it would be nothing short of a miracle. But yeah, it's a game of probability, and I think that's something that people don't consider too much. What does your portfolio look like if we get down here? It's a scary question, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility. What does your portfolio look like if we get down here? Is this where you buy? Do you need the chart to look like this to start buying? What is it? And it's about thinking through those scenarios for me and just planning for them. And like I said, I think the one scenario that I'm not prepared for from a making money from the actual move itself is probably a dramatic shift to the downside. So, and that's just because I'm a little bit reluctant to go quite heavy short on some of these alts, which clearly would have paid quite well if you did that yesterday. But yeah, I'm not sure the altcoin roller coaster is dead just yet. But yeah, I mean, I think that's. I've been streaming for an hour, and I said it was going to be really short, but I guess I've blabbed about a lot of shit, haven't I? So yeah, I mean, in summary, personally, I'm watching BTC, just range, playing alts to the long side, just a couple. You can actually see my list here. It's pretty much Rune, which I tend not to trade much. It's just I just like knowing what Rune's at because it's been one of my larger bags for a long time. Luna, which we've all had the Do Kwon narrative rammed down our throats. And then Lux, KNC, and Ape. Yeah, Ape will be interesting. Got better for me after I started seeing spot bags and swing trades with proper invalidation, etc. Yeah, I mean that's kind of how they should be seen, I think. Like, if you don't have an invalidation, you're almost baseline accepting that they can go to zero, which most people aren't actually comfortable with. I have some bags that I've literally said I'm comfortable holding this to zero, and some of them I probably will. I probably will bag hold them to literally zero. But that's my risk, right? And if I'm happy to take it, who the fuck is anyone to tell me what I do with my money? How would you hold token unlock shorts? Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I don't think I've ever taken a token unlock short. The closest I did to it was trying to trade Magic when it had the massive unlock drop below $1 to like 70 cents. I mean, I think it depends on the wider context, so I'm sort of shirking the answer to that. What token are you referring to specifically? Because I'd always do it with a chart, right? I'm not going to just short off the basis of a token unlock, personally. Unless there was confluence in the setup and said, oh, actually, you know what, this is a good narrative to short it, which has fueled the fire for the setup rose. Oh, in the don't touch bag. Lovely. I don't know, because I wouldn't touch it, mate. Rune, XSRSR, loads of them. I mean, for me, if you want to start like swing trading and you want to play it off unlocks, I don't know when the rose unlock was. I mean, one might assume it was there, but it probably wasn't, because this looks like a lot of alt charts. Oh, mindset, how's it going, mate? Yeah, tip top this end. Tip top. We're just vibing to piano music, cup of tea, and some charts. Yeah, so I mean, I'd just be playing it off the chart itself, mate. And it's the same principle applies, that you might have a higher conviction on your short because of an unlock, yeah. And you say, okay, well, this is going to be a catalyst for selling, blah blah blah, and then you take profit, or you do whatever based on how you do it. So I don't know if you're thinking from a macro perspective that this is going to just gradually go down to zero. I don't know if you ended up here, in which case you want to start thinking about taking some profit if it's a significant sum to you, yada yada yada. It's quite hard to kind of say how do you manage a position because it really depends on you, your view, your trading style, and like where you entered. So like if you entered up here, I'd be taking a fair bit off the table probably and just letting the rest run. If you entered here, like for this sell-off, then again, like how deep do you think this is going to go? Do you think that this is played out? No real reversal signals and momentum. Play something simple. Take some off now. Move your evidentiary up a bit. Like, I don't know. It's kind of up to you. Do you think this is going to keep going down? Like, I don't take trades off token unlock shorts, but there is definitely some alpha in it. I've seen people who have tracked private sale unlocks, for example, and they've used that as buying opportunities on particular projects. Obviously ones where they've not got like daily vested schedules and stuff like that. So yeah, and let me be clear that obviously none of this is like financial advice, right? so please don't sue me again. Rain, piano beams, and good opinions. Oh, not sure about the latter, but yeah, this is someone who drinks instant coffee, so. Yeah, I mean, one random musing that I'll just share with you guys is that I was chatting to a bunch of solicitors last week, and I was sort of going around the room and chatting to them about, you know, crypto, NFTs, all that kind of stuff. And it was really odd because out of about 20 of them, like a few of them have heard of Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum, or Ethereum as they kept calling it, which is you know, charmingly British. But pretty much all of them had heard of NFTs and had heard of, you know, digital art and so on and so forth. And I guess that's one area that I've probably been a little bit lax on lately, and I want to get back into, like, particularly Sol NFTs have been banging. I know, like DeGods and stuff like that have just flown. Yeah, I think let's assume that we go, you know, Goblin Town, we're all shredding with cred, so we're going to be ripped, right? We're going to be ripped bears, and it's going to be great, yeah. But during that process, it's going to be really interesting for me to see what happens with the NFT market, because I don't think that's going to be hit as badly as crypto. So yeah, I'm going to spend a little bit of time, I think, in May, focusing a little bit more on NFTs and sticking with the alt momentum strategy, I guess, of just trading them intraday, looking for longs on a couple of in-plays, and that's it. Heath. Yeah. Bottle of water. Bottle of water. That's the classic British one that everyone fucking memes us about. But yeah, guys, you got any questions? I'm happy to shoot the shit about anything, really. Nice. I hope there'll be a chance for my unintelligible artworks to pump. Yeah. 100%. Feel free to shill them on stream, Lowen. For those people who don't know Lowen, he is the ultimate meme maker. He's the one that does all of our memes in the Paragon group, and he does my memes around, like, the Nescafe Gold Blend stuff, which I'm actually in discussion with Nescafe at the moment. Not worried about NFT's liquidity? Yeah, I am. So I've been, you know, I think I talked about being liquidated back in 2020, I think, which is mad. Like, I was very early to NFTs. I was so early I didn't kind of that when I started making good money from NFTs, I thought, well, that's it. It must be over. No, it was really far beyond it. Yeah, crypto overall liquidity is already shit. Yeah, you're right. Am I worried about it? No, because it comes back to the simple thing of, you know, invest what I am comfortable with losing, right? Take the risk that you are willing to take on. I just realised that NFTs are, or can be, very illiquid. So your risk for an NFT is 100%, right? You know, if you've got a $10,000 portfolio and you're buying an NFT for $1,000, okay, well, that's your risk is that $1,000. Right, that's 10% of your portfolio in that asset that you immediately have to write off. So it's quite a big bet for you. So that's kind of how I think of them. Do you think that any new forms of art will emerge through NFTs, utilising their unique technology and incorporating it into the art itself? Ooh. Yeah, that's a good question. I do, and if I could tell you what they were, then I'd probably just fucking create it and be a billionaire, right? That would be great. I think there's been some interesting developments generally, like around music-based NFTs. Obviously, we've had things like social NFTs, like BAYC, where you're part of a club and all this kind of stuff. But general, like, I guess, different forms of art. I mean, art blocks spring to mind, right? Like, I remember a year ago, we were talking about this in another Discord, actually, that like a year ago, we were all staying up for these mints, all saying, well, we're going to throw 1 ETH, 5 ETH, whatever, at these digitally generated, I mean, you look back at some of them and you just think, like, really? Were we paying like $20,000, $30,000 for this? But yeah, like it went and had its phase of generative art, right? And I don't think 10 years ago, if anyone had said to me, well, do you think generative art would be a big thing? I'd say, fuck no, what the hell's that? But no, it definitely had its phase. And whether there'll be other things like that, yeah, of course there will. As long as people are creative, there will be those things. Yeah, there was 1Pixel, for example, which I always thought was quite a cool concept of getting a community of people together, and everyone owns a pixel on a grid, and you try and build a community to like create bits of art together. Yeah, like really weird, different things. I think there will be. I don't know what. Like I said, if I knew what would be hot, I'd probably just go and do it myself. But yeah, like if you think about, I mean, we were talking about it earlier in Impulsion around the opportunities of generations, right? Like the current youths of today have so much more opportunity in terms of like the digital era. The amount of people making money off TikTok, off Twitter, or off YouTube, it's beyond. Like back in my day, to sound like the boomer that I am, if I went to my school careers counsellor and I said, oh, I want to be on Twitter tweeting about altcoins and I want to trade digital Ponzi's, they'd fucking send me to a lunatic's asylum, right? They'd be like, what is this? What is this kid smoking? Like, I don't know. And I think this world is only set to evolve, but whether that evolution is, in the next few weeks, months, years, I don't know. Whether we're early or not as well is a big question. I don't think we're super early, but that doesn't mean there isn't money to be made. There you go, yeah. No Nescafe but tea. Do you know what? I'm drinking tea now. It's the afternoon. I've had my 2 Nescafes. Hey Jim. How's it going, man? How was your golf? If you went out. Yeah, you missed out on the 110-hour trade. Which is, a bit of a shame. Crap, but nice to get out. Yeah, fair play, mate. Fair play. Sounds like my CS, to be honest. Crap, but nice to get out virtually. Yeah, that's another thing actually. I need to sort out my computer. I think I'm just going to buy another one because this is like a piece of crap, apparently. And I'll stream some CS games at some point with the likes of some of Crypto's legends. Like Marouche and Jim. Nana naps are the best, mate. Yeah, I love playing CS with Marouche and Jim. Like Marouche, honestly, his voice is just, and I've probably butchered his name, but the way he says "this motherfucker," oh, so beautiful. Honestly, I could listen to that all day long, all day long. I don't know why people like the British accent, but the French is by far the best. Clearly, this is the stream that still think about that noise he made when he got knifed in the back. Yeah. Yeah. This motherfucker. Love him. Yeah, that noise was quite impressive, Jim. I can't believe someone clipped my laugh and put a fucking dolphin on it. That is, I can't believe how fast they did it as well. It really impresses me. I think this goes back to what we were talking about of like the digital age and like people who have the skill sets to be able to market themselves well, like in this age. Yeah, the world's kind of your oyster, right? It's incredible. Serious? Yeah, I'm serious. There's literally a clip. I'm streaming like the window of this now, so I don't stream my desktop like an idiot. But I'll post it on Twitter. I'll just say thanks for coming and all that kind of stuff afterwards. But yeah, they they did it within like 5 minutes. Not even that, I think. It just blows my mind how quick some people are at this kind of stuff. But yeah, I think I might leave it there actually, boys. We've done like an hour and 20, unless anyone's got any decent questions. And no, I've already given you a $100 trade, right? No refunds though. And while you're potentially thinking of questions or telling me to enjoy my tea, I'd just like to say that this stream is brought to you by Delta Exchange. My ref link is below. 100% win rate if you sign up using it. Not guaranteed. There's up to $30,000 deposit bonus and 10% off fees if you use it. And I will be coding some new indicators in the short future as soon as this this strategy of logging whatever alts are in play kind of vamooshes. And I think what I'm going to do is, yeah, be cheeky and just say if you sign up, then you can, yeah, I'll be up for a replay, mate. Then you can get access to them. This is actually my second stream, but the first one I did, I either didn't publish on Twitch or I deleted it or something like that. Boomer Charlie strikes again. Do I want to play SCS? Ooh, I could be tempted, sir. I could be tempted. I made my shekels this morning with a little ape long, which I closed prematurely. That's what she said. But yeah. Thank you everyone for coming, and if, like, let me know. Give me a feedback, like if this is worth it, if it's helpful, because I might do this weekly and do this time slot, and then save it, obviously this time. But yeah, if there's anything you kind of want to see, don't want to see, if I'm waffling, if I'm chatting shit, then yeah, let me know. And hope you've enjoyed the piano vibes, because they certainly chilled me out. Well, thanks for coming guys, and see you soon. Peace.